guys.
How you going?
How are you? How are we?
Well,
Stressing week. Listen.
it was pretty full on.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely no complaints. It only took me an hour and 10 minutes to get home, so that was
Good.
and hopefully work takes a new turn next week with a new job opportunity that I've taken. So, moving forward.
I started to create a course.
Oh, yeah.
An online course. Super excited about it. It's super, I love it.
So,
like putting really all these topics together for a course to help people to find their
inner beauty.
balance, their inner beauty, mastery
themselves.
of life. Yeah. And I really love the topic of relationship.
Okay, there's one thing I wanted just to catch up on. There was a question asked that I got given by Kelly. I had a friend pass away that seems to cause a lot of conflict between other people. And I just want you to remember that he loved you all. And the one thing he wouldn't be happy about is any of you hurting each other in any kind of way. And there was something I said about the fishing rod, and Kelly asked me about it, if it was a time when his friend had shared with my father and that fishing rod. I can totally understand what you mean, but let me as a child heal the loss of my parent, and then if I want to pass that on to the guy who shared time with my dad, that should be my decision. That's my feeling on the situation. And I just want everyone to remember with the passing of my brother that he loved you all in his way, and he definitely wouldn't be loving when you're having conflict with one another. And it sort of kind of saddens my heart a little, but it's not my place to have a sad heart. And if any of you want to talk to me, I'll tell you my number. It's 04321 75766. I also promised Joe that I would give you a call. I got up pretty late today. I just had a shower and washed myself up a little bit to be able to do our little afternoon speech. So if you want to have a chat, just write me a message and I'll call you, or you've got my number now. I'm trying to unconditionally love everyone. That means loving people with what then others might see as faults or whatever. I want you to think about this brother of mine and how he would be feeling if he was here right now and seeing three people that he loved fighting amongst one another. And as a word of advice, it would be really, really fucking amazing if you know what, if you want to throw a little party, and I'll send you money, I don't care. I'll send you money, you can throw a little barbecue and have a talk out rather than have bad feelings with one another. Talk it out, sit there, see what things were important to each one of you, and discuss what one another should take from this. As if any kind of material thing can fill this brother's place. I doubt it.
Do you want to talk about the Arjuna story? Because it relates a little bit to
there's an Indian god. He was actually one of the god's sons. His name was Arjuna. And he was like the best archer He's
He was
like
a fighter.
Achilles in the Greek mythology. He was like the best archer. He was a warrior. And he got home one day, and everyone had taken his stuff, his kingdom. They nearly derobed his wife. They'd done really bad stuff, and he was like thinking. And they also had assembled an army to kill him. So it wasn't bad enough that you take my stuff. You're also trying to kill me, you know. Now this guy Arjuna, he's like a supreme man. I mean, like he could just wipe them all out with one arrow. You know what I mean? And he didn't want to do that because it's his family. It's the people he loves. Even though they're doing him wrong, that's the point where he's come. They're doing him wrong. They're doing him wrong. Who decides what's wrong for one another? So there's another really important thing. Who decides what is wrong? So I've been betrayed a few times in my life, and I still wouldn't like to betray other people because like that hurts. That's not what you want to be doing. You know.
But what Arjuna actually did was he would have. It would have been easy for him to defeat the whole army that was against him because his carriage was led by God.
So righteousness.
But what he decided was, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to fight my family because it's my family. Yeah. What does that make? You know, it doesn't make anything better. To fight my family. It's never the right decision to fight your family. So he was deciding,
against. It's against.
So what?
It's not always against.
What he was deciding, I'm gonna let them kill me because I don't care. You know, I'm not gonna go into this. And the whole truth in that story, the whole, the moral of that story is that we are constantly living in perplexities, which we are born into, and we have to figure it out. We have to figure it out for us.
They are perplexed because of materialism of things. Because if you could take away all the things in the earth, there'd be no one fighting about nothing. There would be actually nobody fighting over nothing. Any kind of war or conflict that people have with one another is because of something. Of
misunderstanding.
But it's normally a material thing. And it's rather saddening. When I got together with Dorothy, I said, I think I'm going to go live in a cave. I just want to be away from the world because it's like a little bit too much for me to handle, because it's like we're fighting over stuff that will remain here. Nothing from the earth gets taken to the afterlife or to the beyond life or to another life. Only your spirit, your soul, the person that you should be trying to fix, is the only thing that travels away from here. Everything else stays here, but we're fighting, killing each other and doing all these conflicts over oil, over petrol, over fighting, over... It's all about something, If we could just take away everything, there'd be no one fighting about anything because there'd be nothing to fight over. You know what I mean? And maybe then we'd live in a peaceful, loving state. I don't know. It'd be a different world. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. But we have to, of course, take into consideration that we are living in this 3D world. I mean, there is no way around it.
Until you can rise above it.
You have to live with constant perplexities. You have to figure it out again and again and again. Go through the conflicts and complications and become better. Grow with it.
And realise how important those things that you're fighting over actually are. Do you know what I mean? How important is my dad's fishing rod? Even though I should have had the choice to make the decision, so I should have had the choice to be able to give that away, right? Because he's my father. I didn't, and it brought a little bit of anger, but it also taught me that that's not going to remind me of my father. What's in my mind reminds you of my father. But being children, it's good to be able to get the choice of who gets that piece of equipment or something, you know what I mean? I guess we're a little bit all fun with shit, but I just hope that the people that are having conflict over this brother of mine who passed away, find the love in their heart to realise that he would not want what's going on, and it's really saddening for me because we're not living up to this life force and energy that he was, you know, and it's just material bullshit.
There's no reason, never a reason to fight over material stuff, you know, in this world.
But yeah, you can say that once you've realised, you know, until you realised, you'll be fighting over it. And like certain things, like we said about the house your father built, you know, there's certain things that are like family heirloom that should stay in the family until they have given by a family member passed on with the understanding that everybody's agreed for that to be passed on to somebody else. And that's what I want to say about the situation. I don't like getting involved in any kind of negativity, and it breaks my heart that what's going on. But so let's go back to relationships.
Yeah. So the topic
I'll repeat my number one more time in case you want to. It's 04321 75766. My phone, you can ring it at any time. Anything that's stressing you or something like that, just give me a buzz. I'm definitely going to give you another perspective on things, you know. So might be good, might be bad, but yeah, it really breaks me heart that you're fighting. One person loves you all, and you're fighting over that.
Yeah. Like you know, I think we have to always like, you know, like kind of like get a detachment of this material world that is around us, and you know, of course it is for joy, you know, we of course we are supposed to enjoy these material things, but everything that we are doing is for learning, you know, there's always a learning process behind everything. Life is school, and you know, like we're not, hedonism is just, you know, it's I don't want to say negative, but if you are bathing too much in joy, it's standing in your way of learning, you know, because there's always a little part of suffering included in learning, you know. If we're just, you know, constantly, but if we're just constantly satisfied from the beginning, in a satisfied state, there is no, you know, there's no, for us, no motivation, no encouragement to develop in any way, you know. We would just sit there and eat fruits, but we wouldn't have this, you know, this feeling of achievement, you know. We would have it from the beginning, this satisfaction, and we wouldn't know what it actually means to us, you know, because it's just there, you know, it's just for granted. But it's important for us to, you know, learn through the discomfort, to walk through the discomfort and get to the other side of
The discomfort.
Of the light, you know, to see the light after, you know, after walking through the darkness. The hero's journey. Joseph Campbell is talking a lot about the hero's journey, and he's talking a lot about basically films, movies, and there's always a hero's journey, like the hero's going out to, you know, to have his adventure, and he's coming to his peak, and then he's returning home again, and he's like, you know, he's relating it a lot to our life, you know, like we're going out, having our adventure, coming to our peak. It might be even sometimes a little bit critical and very discomfortable, and You know, we're going through a lot of messy situations, and then we're coming home to the state where we're actually, you know, to our wisdom, to our enlightenment, right? And I see that, you know, also in relationships. When you're going into a committed relationship between two people, why are we actually...
There's one thing right here. Two. This is very, very important. So, two people, two total different entities who have grown up in different ways, have different beliefs. So if I want to make things work with my other person, I have to be understanding, as my other person has to be understanding. Two people. We find it hard enough to love ourselves, let alone to love another. Do you understand? So
Exactly. So the question is, you know, why are we actually coming together? Why do we have from childhood on, we always have this, you know, yearning to find, you know, like someone,
the perfect partner
that is going to be in our life, right? I mean, yes, we of course we are programmed through already in the childhood fairy tales and Disney movies and stuff like that, right? But there is like also an instinct inside of us. I mean, that's why animals come together, you know. There's this instinct inside of us that
to share, to love,
is driving
to be
us,
loved.
you know, to someone that is in our life, to, like you said, share, you know, connect. And the thing is, like, connect also, it's not only coming together and having sex, you know, that's
probably the lowest of all connection.
Of course it's part of a, you know, like committed relationship when it's a romantic relationship, but behind it all there is this factor of growing together, bonding with one another on a level where you can learn from one another and nourish one another and get better and, you know, step up and step up and
And
step
that's when the
up
loving becomes beautiful.
together.
The
Yes.
love making becomes beautiful.
Yes. You know, like that's also when the sexuality, the love making becomes, you know, gets to a whole new quality of, of love making.
Another level.
But you know, like we're walking through a relationship, and in the best case scenario, there is healing happening inside of us. We start to, you know, we see a mirror of ourselves inside of the other person, and the other person is showing us a bald mirror, you know, like that's what it is. That's why you have all these conflicts. And these conflicts are there for me to see where can I improve myself, you know, and also the other person, you know, I'm showing this other person in form of a mirror where, you know, where could you improve yourself, you know, all this poking, which is like not a poking, it's just, you know, how
like
the dynamic, the ego sees it like a poking.
Like a poking, until you understand that it's just your ego actually is not actually getting poked, but you're creating a poking to the ego.
Yeah, you're creating a blockage to it because you don't want to hear it, you don't want to listen to it.
It's touching you somewhere where it hurts.
Yeah, it's touching you where it hurts.
Yeah, you think it hurts, because
Exactly.
actually when you keep your rise above it, nothing actually hurts.
Yeah,
Nothing.
but it hurts the ego in that moment.
But when you rise above the ego, there's no hurt at all.
know.
Someone's telling you their story or their feelings towards you, and if you can not take it personal, which we've taking everything personal. He stuck his finger up while she was driving. I'm going to road rage and do something crazy. It's like, really? I mean, like, really? You know, do you want to be going backwards or forwards? This is totally, this is another thing with our remembering our past. Are you going to start walking backwards? You look at things as lessons and move on. Move on and move on and move on. And no lesson is exactly the same. Even if it's exactly the same thing happened, 3 days later, it's not the same situation. Okay? So, you've got to start looking through the eyes of love. I've got 2 tattoos on my hands, actually. And I said, I was with a girl at the time, Helena. He said, why'd you put that on your hands? And I said, because you should look through your heart, you know. Look through the heart. Don't look at what the eyes can only see, but look through the heart, because you don't know what someone's going through unless you're actually walking in their shoes. And so she was like, that's silly. You should look through your eyes. The heart's there to just beat blood. And it was like, okay, like we're on totally different levels here. But that's okay. That's also okay.
I just remember in relation to that what you just said, it's actually, you know, when you understand, like, you know, because you said you never know what somebody else has gone through, right? But you know, like if we understand that we are all one, you know, this is always like said easy, but if we really like ponder on this and let it go a little bit deeper, and understand that, you know, like,
if you were in their shoes, what that happened
do
to
it, you know, exactly, you know, like if somebody, you know, somebody is doing something which you wouldn't want to approve, you know, like,
or
you
you
say,
don't
like,
approve.
you don't want to, you don't approve, right? You think like that was really not good what this person did, and you judge the person, right? And then you think, how in this situation, how would I want to be treated, right? Like, what would
imagine it wasn't that person, I was that person,
yes,
and he was going to be treating
I have
me.
done this, you know, mistake, fault, you know, flaw, whatever it is. How would I want to be treated in that, you know, situation? For me, it would be always like, oh, have a little bit of like compassion, please, you know. I'm already feeling really bad about the whole situation, and sometimes because I feel so bad about the whole situation, I start to go into like this fight mode.
It's defense.
I start to, yes,
mode.
because I feel like, oh God, it's the worst thing that I did, but I can't, you know, like I can't admit to it because it feels so painful to admit to it, you know. So I'm going into like this aggression,
defense.
you know. We all do that, I think, you know. We all know that.
That's human.
You know,
it's human.
and if, you know, like for me, my wish would be just be, you know, be gentle with me. Don't judge me too bad on that, right? That everybody would want that.
Yeah.
But we're judging the others, you know. If you would say, you know, how would I want to be treated in that situation? You would go like, okay, I'm going to be gentle with him, you know, or her, or whoever, you know. I'm going to be gentle. I'm going to see that, you know, he's probably hurting, you know, more than anybody else, because I can see that it would be like that for me, you know. So, and then you start to, you know, there's a completely different interaction, right? And this is also applying for, you know, committed relationships. It's so hard to not misunderstand your beloved one.
To not misunderstand.
Oh my God, you know. It's so easy that the filter of the ego goes down and you go like, oh, did you mean that? You know?
That was another thing that we saw also was watching now, that imagine when someone asks you a question, you repeat the question to them and make sure that's the actual question that you've been asked before you respond. We're going to start doing it amongst ourselves. So I thought, well, that's a really great idea, because a lot of times we might have little misunderstandings, because Dorothy comes from a German background, speaks unbelievable English, but you know, in the English language, when you change one word around from an at to an in, or just one little word, it takes on a whole new meaning. It takes on a whole new meaning. Yeah, you know. And so we're going to start, when we ask each other questions, or we really listen to each other.
Or not only questions, it can be statements, you know, like whatever it is.
Yeah. Just repeat it back to the person to make sure you've totally understood exactly what they're asking. And then the response is going to be a lot clearer.
And the person has multiple, you know, trials to repeat it again to say, no, that's not what I meant. I actually meant this. And then the other person tries to, again, repeat it. Before any statement comes from the other person, you clarify the point of view of the statement or question that was posed in the beginning.
Because that's what we get a lot of this. We get a lot of confusion and anger when we're not really understanding. When we really understand something, there is no anger because you've understood it.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, then it's you play your part on answering the question or the statement or whatever that was asked, but that you understood before you answer.
There's never really a problem if we understand, if we have like a good comprehension of the situation. If that is given, there's never a problem. But if we don't comprehend a situation, then the problems arise. And it's the problems, the ego is creating the problems, because the ego goes, I gotta understand it. I don't understand it.
And a defense mechanism brings up. Here's another thing that I'd like to just add. Something that I thought about. Imagine you're in a dark room, and inside that room there's a tiger, a wolf, a snake, and a lion, and they're all tied up, but they're somewhere inside that room, and it's dark. There's a pretty good chance you're going to get bitten if you're not killed. But if you turn on that light, which is understanding, and okay, I don't go to that corner because that's where the tiger is. The snake's in the middle of the room. The wolf's at the right-hand corner, and right next to the wolf's the tiger. So I can definitely move through the room without getting attacked by any kind of animal. Do you understand? So maybe we should start actually, if you understood what I mean, turn that light on. Turn that light on so you can actually see everything before you answer or make any kind of defensive or oppositive decisions or speaking. So to totally understand what's actually being asked. There's not actually a human being in the world that will do that. Yeah, listen and look through the heart. But there's not actually a human being goes against his will of humanity to do something bad. So we do things that are bad because we don't really understand. But if you're like a normal human being and you're living a normal human life, your normal reaction will not be a wrong one. Unless you're in a place of unknowing. And then your reaction is, again, knowing for that situation, but not the actual situation that we're discussing. Fast cars everywhere.
$180,000 cars.
Yeah, for driving in a BMW M4 today, it's a machine, $180,000. It's like, whoa! I mean, this thing's like so powerful. It wouldn't even spin. He was like getting to the boot. It wasn't spinning. It was just going. It's like my Triumph. It's like just goes.
It was kind of exciting.
A
little bit too much exciting for me.
It was rather exciting. Yeah.
Really fast. So
we're talking about understanding, and it's good that we understand what's going on before we start pulling out our swords and knives to the situation.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah. So understanding is it's
and
it's the greatest gift
this
to
is
understand.
This is the thing, because we probably have taken that over from our childhood, because there were many situations where our parents and
I was saying, when someone's going to ask you something, you probably, before you even actually heard the question, you've got the answer in your head, because that's how we are.
Yes, yes, but it's because it's of course everything comes from our childhood, right? We're programmed there, and then we take it into our adulthood, So what I want to say is that we're not aware of many things that are that are happening, so
unconscious.
yeah, and this, like sometimes we had situations as a child where we were misunderstood, and our parents didn't give us the chance to express us. They didn't listen. That's the biggest problem. Many people don't listen, and also parents don't do that sometimes because they are in their own business. They have a lot of other stuff to do, right? So it's not like really a complaint, but that's what's happening. They're not listening to you, so you're used to be misunderstood, and it's just it's just something that belongs to you, kind of, and then because of these misunderstandings, sometimes it's many times that you as a child, you feel like that's not fair, but you cannot defend yourself because as a child you're not there at you're not strong enough, your ego is not developed enough, your understanding is not there yet, that you go like, wait a minute, what you're doing right now, you're not listening to me. I really would like you to listen to me because I didn't do that what you think I did. And there's no such rationalizing as a child. You just feel like, oh God, that's not fair, and you're crying. Children are crying a lot because it hurts
and feeling unworthy.
But this is how we are programmed into this system of like, oh my God, misunderstandings, and it's so painful to have these misunderstandings in a relationship with your beloved one, because you take that from your childhood into your adulthood. It's so bad, because you never learned to figure it out because your parents didn't give you the chance, didn't give you the voice to express actually what's going on.
My dad was a great one of this. I don't really misunderstand anything I say about my dad because he's made me the person I am. A big part of it's been because of him. He'd be always like, all right, come here so I can beat you and you can tell me what happened afterwards. I was like,
yeah.
Well, it's not really worth telling you now. We said we don't like cop to hiding anyway.
Perfect example.
It's like, he did the best he could do. So, but it was one thing I didn't do to my kids, that's for sure. But it's like, so we never got the chance to be able to actually voice our opinions on things. And so that's what's a lot of times, even when you're right up in life and someone raises their voice or something and you like go into a submissive state. Do you know what I mean? I'm not even around people who raise their voice. So the truth is just like, they're the weeds that have come out of my garden. Well, one of the first that came out of my garden. But I don't. Humans talk, understand, voice, listen. Cavemen smack their wife over the head with the club, and so I'm not a caveman. I've kind of domesticated myself, so I like to talk and have conversations with people, and this helps. And
this is the part where the healing starts, in a committed relationship.
Definitely.
Because you have taken it over from your childhood, and there's so much wounded child inside of us, in everybody. And when you are able to, in your relationship, go into this, process it, and, bring this little monster out, and really,
and be heard.
Yes, and the other person gives you the space to express what you want to express
and what you're feeling,
and not without judging you, without going like, nah, but what are you
Everyone has
talking
their
about?
right to their opinion. You got to remember that too. Even if it clashes with your opinion, everybody has the right to their opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, the way they feel.
And there's always, there's always,
two sides,
and there's always a validation to that, because there's a history behind it. There's a whole universe inside of us, and it has been growing for for me, like over 50 years. For you guys, maybe, more or less, whatever. But this universe has been expanding and informed with information and emotions and how you have to act and how you have to react and all these things, So there are two universes colliding when, two people come together. And I want to tell you, like I said, there is this deep healing happening.
It doesn't have to be also about partners. It can also be parents with children.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though it's a child, it's not a complete match of views. They've got they're their own people.
Yes.
So when we start listening to our good kids, we're going to be able to be heard from our kids.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you? Does that make sense?
Yeah. It makes sense. But yes, like you say, of course it can be any kind of, but committed relationships are, they are going deep. That's the thing. And that's why, I'm not saying anything about relationships, polyamorous relationships, or, there are all sorts of relationships, but if you, for example, like friends that are coming together, they can always, go to their own house or to their own room and go like, dude, let's see how it is tomorrow, or if it's not tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow, in 1 year, we'll see, and, also in relationships that are where more than two people are involved, you can always go to the third or fourth person and go like, oh, I just can't deal with him or her at the moment, but in a monogamous relationship, it's committed. You have to deal with one another, you don't have to, but it's like you don't get around it, you just don't get around it
to move forward.
So
you've got to sort the problems out.
It goes deep, and
I said, but I've never been in a relationship that's been as deep as you and me.
Yeah, me not either.
Yeah. My relationship's been beautiful, don't get me wrong, but to be able to understand each other on the way we speak, and spiritually speak, and heal,
and support one another, on the healing path, and always try to. I mean, there are bumps. There are always bumps because you have to learn to understand the other person, right?
And it's the pain that they're going
that's
through.
A process, and then there is our wishes, desires, and egos that go like, am I happy? Is that the way I want my life to be, and whatever, So you have to always get back to trying to understand the other person, and coming back to this loving point again. Always getting back to love.
If it was a true love, if it was truly a love, an unconditional love, people don't break up. They don't, because it's like you commit.
Mm-hmm.
You commit certain things.
And then this process of again and again and again, understanding the other person on this level, on that level, and there's always a new level where you have to,
drop into their shoes,
open your heart, and understand here, not there,
Because that's the human thing that's been programmed from others, most likely. We need to go deep into your spiritual heart center. And there's a lot of compassion there and feeling, but no negative emotion. You start to actually listen maybe for the first time in your life, and things change.
This is the thing, we're not listening, but if we really start to listen from our hearts, then, healing happens. So much healing that we have brought with us, and
a lot of healing we need to do to move on to another level.
Yes.
We have to admit that there is some kind of pain somewhere, and it needs to be healed. And until you do that, you're living on a false way of life. When you actually start to see the things that are holding you back, you're going to start to heal those things. And when you start to heal those things, they won't be holding you back anymore. So there's this liberation and freedom of oneself when you've noticed there's a problem in some way, and stop blaming the problem on another person. Because if there's something going on and it didn't work with her and didn't work with that person either and didn't work with that person, now can it be that they're all wrong, or can it be that maybe I have a problem?
There's a pattern inside of us.
So then you've got to go deep. I mean, remember the thing that I had at 2.5 years old, my mother left me. She left my auntie in care of me, and she went to pick up my sister from the kindergarten. It was only, must have been about 800 metres away. So let's say, 800 metres, less than a kilometre. So 1.5 kilometres to come back. And she had to pick up my sister from kindergarten. And in that time I'd woken up and my auntie wasn't there when I woke up. And I don't know how long, but I actually saw this, I envisioned this. I actually had what's those dreams called? It's like a dream where you're like watching something go on, but you can't interact.
Lucid dream.
Huh?
Lucid dream.
Lucid dream. So this would do. I must have been crying for about 2 minutes maximum, or something, 2.5 minutes. I was red faced and crying, and there was this feeling inside me, feeling of abandonment, like to wake up when you're a little kid. And I can go more deep into this if you really want to know about it, but I'm just brushing over it. So I wake up, there's no one home. I've got out of my cot and gone to the front window and crying for my mum. And then probably within about 1.5 minutes after I'd gotten to the front room window, my mum came running up the stairs, and then I was like, oh my God, I couldn't interact. I was standing there watching what was going on from a higher level, yeah. And when I went over to my mother, I told her this happened. She started bawling. She's like, oh my God, this really happened. How do you know this? You're like 2.5 years old. So I had this feeling of abandonment. And I was like crash diving all relationships. As soon as it started to feel too good, I was like breaking it up and pushing away. Do you know what I mean? So there's these little things that are inside our minds and inside that have happened to us from before we can remember even, that are controlling our way of life. So when we start really looking deep inside ourselves and realising there's some kind of pattern or something that's not feeling right, and we start looking at it, we can start to look at these little things that where they could have been, the seed could have been planted, or for what reason you have these feelings. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like a person, I was cheated on, my girlfriend I love very much. It hurt. Now it wouldn't hurt because it was different when you're young. I didn't cheat on other people. I thought, God, why would I want to make someone feel the way I felt? Because that really fucking hurt. Do you know what I mean? So why would I want to do that to somebody else? And I didn't cheat on anyone. I didn't cheat on others, in that way. But so just, yeah.
Well, it's always different. Like everybody is reacting different to
different
certain,
things.
and also that is something that we have to understand. You can put a person, soldier or whatever, into the same traumatic situation, and these two soldiers would come out of the situation completely different. One is, traumatically mentally affected for the rest of life, and the other wouldn't even bother just a little bit, because we are like bringing also certain qualities into with us, like we were programmed. So some people have already taken have brought some traumas from their childhood, deep traumas with them, and then you put them into a situation and another trauma is breaking them. Other people they haven't really experienced that much traumas, and they can deal with traumas a lot better. They are more
different way.
resilient in that, you know. So yeah, it's so different. There is no
It's
recipe.
different for everybody. So you can't decide on how someone's feeling.
Yeah, some
You
people
can never know.
some people grow out of traumas, you know. They get stronger and they benefit from that, you know. Other other people break down, you know. So
and you can never know what somebody else is feeling.
no.
I mean, I can, with something, for example, I can explain to Dorothy as best I can, but it's not the same as what I'm feeling. So this is another thing we have to understand and be compassionate and loving about. That you can really, even though you say, oh, I walk in that person's shoes, yeah, you can walk in these shoes and get an idea of what it feels like, but it's different for everybody.
You will never
know exactly
never know the other person inside out.
Emotion,
You know a lot of the other person, especially when you are in a deep committed relationship. There's a lot of knowledge of the other person, but you will never know 100% of that person. It's just not possible because, you know, there are so many things going on inside of us that, you know, sometimes even we ourselves are not 100% aware of, right? So, but you know, like I said, like you said, the healing part starts if, you know, like your partner, if you are open for healing. First of all, you have to be open to that, you know, and then let your partner give you the space to, you know, heal certain aspects, be able to express yourself without feeling judged or insecure. Am I allowed to say that? Or, you know, like different feelings of being shy or embarrassed about expressing what you really feel. You know?
Also, going back to the cheating.
Shall I turn the light on?
It's good. If you do cheat, hold on to that. You suffer with it. I don't need to pass it on. You suffer with it.
That's the ego. The ego wants to share it. You know, the ego goes like, "Oh, I've done something bad."
I can let it go. Yeah, I can let it go. But you cheated. You live with that feeling of disappointment within yourself, rather than hurt the other person.
But again, you know, it's also, you know, like of course it's everybody's decision how they deal with that.
How they deal. Definitely.
But you know, just be aware. You know, who wants to share it. You know, because you feel bad, like your ego feels bad about doing something that was, you know, not okay. You know, if we want to call it that way. It's, you know, the ego wants to share the story. It feels like it's an obligation to share it.
That pain body out. So, oh, this was going on. That's why I did that.
All right, beautiful people.
Yeah, and I'll say my number one more time for the third time. 0, 4, 3, 2, 1. So 0, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 5, 7, 6, 6 is my number. If anyone wants to talk about anything, with what we discussed at the start, just give me a buzz. Say to me, I haven't got money, so I can't call you, and write me a message, and I'll call you back. Our thing that me and Dorothy started doing this is just to give everybody else another perspective, because life can be super difficult if you're stuck in a hard place.
But
when you start looking at it from another point of view, the problem ain't, it's nothing. All problems are nothing. And if you can let go of the materialistic world, there is no value in any of the problems. So problems are non-existent. And we've started this to be able to help people. And it's not just a bit of encouragement or for someone to say it's not completely black. There's a little bit of grey in that door, just to give you another point of view. We're trying to help everyone. We're helping ourselves as well. You can always write a message or anything like this. on here, or we can discuss it if you want, or we can bring you onto the camera and we can discuss whatever you want. We're doing this to help ourselves and everybody else. And thank you, Angie. We thank you, Jesse. We thank you, Kelly, and we thank you, Mercedes, and everybody else who's been watching.
It's awesome.
Join us. We're doing this every night.
We're so happy about your support, and
it's someone's watching. It's worth it.
Such a beautiful space that we are creating. I feel like it's really
because we do this between ourselves.
Space of healing. You know,
we do this between ourselves. We talk a lot. Me and Dorothy. If you ever find a girl like her, or you find a boy like me, marry them, because we spend so much time with each other, talking about a whole heap of different things and watching different things together. And it's really important. It's important to stop trying to escape and rather become familiar with your surroundings. It helps.
Be honest.
Yeah.
Be really honest to yourself.
I can do this really good.
Yeah, I can.
So huge heart to everybody.
We love you so much.
Yeah. Take care of yourselves and write a message if you're feeling like something's bothering you or whatever.
Yeah.
Because we talk about our problems every day. So feel free to do the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have a beautiful, beautiful night. And tomorrow we'll have another long one because it's my days off.
Yeah.
And tomorrow we'll have. I look forward to these videos every night.
That's awesome. We love you.
Thank you. We love you. Definitely love you. That's really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so encouraging for us.
I hope you all sort out any problems you're having.
Yeah.
And if not, jot us a line, because maybe we're looking at it from a different point of view. Always when you're out of the bull ring, the bull doesn't look so big.
All right. I love you.
Love you. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, beautiful people.